quiet of the night, secrets don't just hide, they strike. Emily sat at her desk in the small office building in downtown Phoenix. It was a Friday afternoon and the clock on the wall ticked slowly. The office was quiet. Most people had left early for the weekend. Emily was 28 years old. She had brown hair and wore a plain blue dress. Her job was to handle the papers and the money for Mr. Thompson, who owned a real estate company. He was a kind man, but old and forgetful. He trusted Emily with everything. That day, a client came in with a big envelope. It had $40,000 in cash inside. It was for a house deal. Mr. Thompson told Emily to put it in the safe until Monday. But as she held the envelope, her mind started to think bad thoughts. Emily's life was not good. She lived in a small apartment with her boyfriend, Tom. Tom was lazy and drank too much. He never helped with the rent. Emily had debts from her mother's hospital bills. Her mother died last year from cancer. Emily felt trapped. She wanted a new life, maybe in California, where she could start over. She looked around. No one was watching. The office had big windows, but the blinds were down. Outside, cars drove by on the busy street. Emily put the envelope in her purse. Her heart beat fast. She felt sweat on her forehead. This is wrong, she thought. But then she thought, I deserve this. I've worked hard for nothing. She stood up and put on her coat. It was a gray coat that she bought last winter. She walked to the door and locked it behind her. The key made a click sound. Emily got into her car. It was an old Ford, blue and rusty on the sides. She started the engine. It made a loud noise at first, then ran smooth. She drove out of the parking lot. The sun was setting and the sky was orange. She turned on the radio. A news station talked about the weather. Rain was coming tonight. Emily drove home first. She needed to pack some things. Tom was not there. He was probably at the bar. She grabbed a suitcase from the closet. It was brown and had stickers from old trips. She put in some clothes, dresses, shirts, pants. Simple things. She took her toothbrush and some soap from the bathroom. The mirror showed her face. She looked tired. She left a note for Tom. I'm leaving. Don't look for me. Short and simple. She got back in the car and drove west. The highway was I-10. It went straight through the desert. Cactus plants stood tall on the sides. The sun went down and it got dark. Emily turned on the headlights. They lit up the road ahead. She drove for 2 hours. Her mind kept thinking about the money. What if they catch me? She worried. But she pushed the thought away. She stopped at a gas station. It was bright with lights. She bought a soda and some chips. The clerk was an old man with a beard. He said, "Have a safe trip." Emily nodded and paid with $1 from her wallet, not the stolen money. Back on the road, the rain started. First, small drops, then harder. The wipers went back and forth. Swish, swish. The sound was steady. Emily felt alone. The highway had few cars now. Trucks passed sometimes, their lights blinding her. She thought about her childhood. She grew up in a small town. Her father left when she was young. Her mother worked 2 jobs. Emily always wanted more. Now she had the money, but it felt heavy in her purse. She drove another hour. The rain made the road slippery. She slowed down. A sign said, "Motel ahead, 50 miles." She was tired. Her eyes hurt from staring at the road. Maybe she would stop there. But for now, she kept going. The radio played soft music. A song about love gone wrong. Emily sang along quietly. Her voice was soft. The night went on. Emily gripped the steering wheel tightly. The rain pounded harder on the windshield, making it hard to see. The wipers moved fast, but the water kept coming. Swish, swish, swish. The sound was all she heard besides the hum of the engine. The highway stretched on, black and shiny under her headlights. She was deep in the Arizona desert now. No towns, no lights, just the road and the rain. Her hands ached from holding the wheel so long. She glanced at the clock on the dashboard. It was past 9 at night. She had been driving for hours. Her back felt stiff, and her legs were cramped. The soda she bought at the gas station sat in the cup holder, half empty. The chips were gone, crumbs on her lap. She brushed them off her dress. The purse with the money was on the passenger seat. She looked at it every few minutes like it might disappear. The radio crackled. The signal was weak out here. A preacher's voice came through, talking about sin and redemption. Emily changed the station. A country song played, slow and sad. She didn't like it, but it was better than silence. The rain made her feel closed in, like the world was shrinking to just her car. She thought about Mr. Thompson. Would he notice the money was gone tonight? Or tomorrow? She imagined his face, confused and angry. Her stomach twisted. A sign appeared in the headlights. Bates Inn, 10 miles, vacancy. The words were faded, barely readable. Emily decided she would stop there. She needed sleep. Her eyes were heavy and the road was blurring. She turned down the radio. The rain sounded louder now. She passed a broken fence on the side of the road. Then a dead tree, its branches like skeleton arms. The desert felt alive in a bad way. She drove another 10 minutes. The motel came into view. It was small, just a row of rooms with a neon sign that flickered. The word inn was dark, so it just said Bates. Behind the motel was a hill, and on top was a big house. It looked old, with sharp roofs and dark windows. One window had a light on, glowing yellow through the rain. Emily parked near the office. Her car was the only one in the lot. She turned off the engine. The silence felt heavy. She grabbed her purse and suitcase and ran to the office door. Rain soaked her hair and coat. The bell above the door jingled as she stepped inside. The office was small and smelled like dust. There was a counter with a guest book and a bell. A lamp gave off a weak light. Pictures of birds hung on the walls. They were stuffed birds, their eyes shiny and fake. Emily shivered. She rang the bell. A man came out from a back room. He was tall and thin, maybe in his 30s. His hair was dark and combed neatly. He wore a plain shirt and pants. His smile was small, like he wasn't used to it. "Evening," he said. "Need a room?" His voice was soft, almost too soft. Emily nodded. "Yes, please. Just for tonight." She felt nervous but didn't know why. The man said his name was Norman. He pushed the guest book toward her. "Sign here." Emily wrote Jane Smith, a fake name. She didn't want anyone to find her. Norman didn't look at the book. He handed her a key for room 1. "It's clean," he said. "Best room we got." He talked about the rain, how it made business slow. His words were dull, like he was reading a script. Emily nodded but didn't say much. She just wanted to get to her room. Norman pointed to the door. "Room's right next door. Let me know if you need anything." His eyes stayed on her a little too long. Emily thanked him and left. The rain was cold on her skin. She unlocked room 1 and stepped inside, locking the door behind her. Emily stood in room 1, dripping wet from the rain. The door clicked shut behind her. She turned the lock, feeling safer with it in place. The room was small and plain. The air smelled like old carpet and cleaning spray. A single bed sat against one wall, covered with a thin green blanket. The pillow looked flat, like it hadn't been fluffed in years. A wooden table held a lamp with a yellow shade. The light was dim, casting shadows on the walls. The wallpaper had a pattern of faded flowers, curling at the edges where it peeled. She set her suitcase on the floor. It made a soft thud. Her purse, heavy with the stolen money, went on the table. She opened it to check. The envelope was still there, $40,000 in neat stacks. She zipped the purse shut and pushed it under the bed. Her heart was still racing from the drive and meeting Norman. His smile stuck in her mind, too tight, like it didn't belong on his face. The room had a small bathroom. Emily walked in and flicked the light switch. A fluorescent bulb buzzed and blinked before staying on. The tiles were white but stained with brown spots. A shower stood in the corner, its curtain a dull beige. The sink had a crack running through it. A mirror hung above, spotted with age. Emily looked at herself. Her hair was wet and stuck to her face. Her eyes looked tired with dark circles underneath. She splashed cold water on her face, hoping it would calm her nerves. She went back to the room and opened her suitcase. She took out a dry shirt and pants, both plain and gray. She changed quickly, shivering in the cold room. The heater was an old metal box on the wall. She turned it on, and it rattled before blowing warm air. She sat on the bed. It creaked under her weight. She looked around. A small TV sat on a stand in the corner. She turned it on. The screen flickered, showing a weather report. More rain was coming. The sound was fuzzy, but she left it on for noise. Outside, the rain kept falling. It tapped on the window, steady and dull. Emily looked out. The motel's neon sign blinked weakly. Beyond it, the big house on the hill loomed. The lit window was still glowing, like an eye watching her. She pulled the curtain shut, a thin piece of cloth that barely blocked the light. She tried not to think about it. There was a knock at the door. Emily froze. "Who's there?" she called. "It's Norman," came the soft voice. "Brought you some food." She hesitated, then unlocked the door. Norman stood there, holding a tray with a sandwich and a glass of milk. His shirt was damp from the rain. "Thought you might be hungry," he said. His eyes flicked past her into the room, then back to her face. Emily took the tray. "Thanks," she said. She didn't want to talk, but he lingered. "Mind if I come in?" "It's wet out here." She nodded, stepping aside. He sat in the chair by the table, his hands folded in his lap. The sandwich was plain, white bread, ham, no sauce. Emily took a bite. It was dry, but okay. Norman watched her eat. "Not many people come here anymore," he said. "The highway's too quiet now." Emily nodded, chewing slowly. She didn't know what to say. Norman talked about the motel, how his family owned it for years. His mother ran it before she got sick. "She's up in the house," he said, pointing toward the hill. "She doesn't like strangers much." His voice was flat, like he was reciting something. Emily felt a chill, but she blamed the cold room. They sat in silence for a while. The TV droned on about the weather. Norman stood up. "I should go check on Mother," he said. He walked to the door, then turned. "Sleep well, Jane." He used her fake name. Emily forced a smile. "Good night," she said. She locked the door again after he left. The room felt smaller now. Emily sat on the bed, staring at the empty tray. The sandwich was gone, and the milk glass was empty. The taste lingered in her mouth, bland and slightly sour. The TV murmured in the background, now playing an old commercial about car insurance. The sound was tinny, cutting through the steady drum of rain outside. She stood up and turned off the TV. The silence felt heavier than the noise. She walked to the window and peeked through the curtain. The neon sign flickered, casting a weak red glow over the parking lot. Her car sat alone, rain pooling on its hood. The big house on the hill was dark now, except for that one lit window. It glowed faintly like a candle in a storm. Emily let the curtain fall back. She didn't like looking at the house. It made her skin prickle. She checked the lock on the door again. It was still secure. She pushed the chair against it, just in case. The chair was wooden and wobbly, but it made her feel better. She went back to the bed and pulled her purse from underneath. She opened it and took out the envelope. The money was still there, crisp and heavy. She counted it slowly, bill by bill. It took a long time. Her fingers trembled as she stacked the cash. She thought about what it could buy: a new apartment, a car that didn't rattle, a life without Tom's shouting. She put the money back and slid the purse under the bed again. Norman's voice echoed in her head. "Mother doesn't like strangers." It was a simple thing to say, but it stuck with her. His eyes had been strange when he said it, like he was looking through her. She shook her head, trying to clear the thought. He was just a lonely man, she told herself. Running a motel in the middle of nowhere probably made anyone a little odd. She decided to unpack her suitcase to keep busy. She opened it and took out her clothes, folding them neatly on the bed. A blue dress, a pair of jeans, 3 shirts, some socks. She lined up her shoes by the door. 1 pair of sneakers, 1 pair of flats. Her toothbrush went on the bathroom sink next to the soap. The soap was small and smelled like chemicals. She organized her things slowly, taking her time. The room felt too quiet, but she didn't want the TV on again. The heater hummed, warming the air. Emily sat back on the bed and looked at the ceiling. It had water stains, brown and uneven. She wondered how long the motel had been here. It felt old, like it was falling apart one piece at a time. She lay down, keeping her clothes on. The blanket was thin, but she pulled it over herself. Her eyes were heavy, but her mind wouldn't stop. She thought about the money, about Mr. Thompson, about Norman's mother in that house. Did she really watch from that window? Emily pushed the thought away. She closed her eyes, trying to sleep. The rain kept tapping, a dull rhythm. She heard a creak outside, like a footstep on wet gravel. Her eyes snapped open. She held her breath, listening. Nothing but the rain. She told herself it was just the storm, maybe a branch falling. She got up and checked the window again. The parking lot was empty. The house on the hill was still dark except for that one light. It hadn't moved. Emily went back to the bed. She left the lamp on. The light made her feel less alone. She lay there, staring at the ceiling again. The stains looked like faces if she stared long enough. She closed her eyes and tried to think of something else. California. A beach. Sun instead of rain. But Norman's voice kept creeping back. "Sleep well, Jane." She didn't like how he said her fake name, like he knew it wasn't real. Emily lay on the bed for a long time, staring at the ceiling. The lamp's dim light made the water stains look darker, almost moving. She tried to close her eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. The rain outside kept its steady beat, tapping on the window like fingers. The heater hummed, but the room still felt cold. Her mind was heavy with thoughts of the money, Norman, and the house on the hill. She needed to clear her head. She sat up and rubbed her eyes. Her clothes felt damp from the rain earlier, sticking to her skin. A shower might help, she thought. It would warm her up and wash away the day. She stood and walked to the bathroom. The fluorescent light buzzed again as she turned it on. The mirror showed her pale face, eyes wide and tired. She turned on the shower. The pipes groaned, then water sprayed out, hot and steady. Steam began to fill the small room, curling around the edges of the mirror. Emily undressed slowly, folding her clothes and placing them on the sink. The cracked tiles were cold under her feet. She stepped into the shower and pulled the beige curtain closed. The water hit her skin, warm and soothing. She tilted her head back, letting it run through her hair. For a moment she felt calm. The sound of the water drowned out the rain outside. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply, trying to forget everything. The money, the motel, Norman's strange smile. Then she heard a noise. A soft scrape like fabric moving. Her eyes opened. The steam was thick, clouding the air. She looked at the curtain, but it was still. Her heart beat faster. It's nothing, she told herself. Just the old building creaking in the storm. She reached for the soap, her hands shaking a little. The water kept falling, loud and steady. Another sound came, a sharp creak, closer now. Emily froze. The curtain moved, just a twitch. A shadow appeared behind it, tall and thin. Before she could scream, the curtain was ripped open. A figure stood there, holding a knife. It was Norman, but different. He wore a dress, old and gray, and a wig of long, tangled hair. His face was twisted, eyes wild. He looked like someone else, someone angry. The knife came down fast. Emily screamed, but the sound was lost in the water. The blade cut into her shoulder. Pain burned through her. She slipped, falling against the tiles. Blood mixed with the water, swirling down the drain. She tried to grab the curtain, to pull herself up, but the knife came again. It stabbed her arm, then her chest. Her screams turned to gasps. The figure kept striking, fast and silent. The water ran red. Emily's body slumped in the tub. The shower kept running, washing away the blood. The figure stood still for a moment, breathing hard. Then it turned off the water. The room was quiet except for the drip of the faucet. Norman, or whoever he was, pulled the curtain off its rod. He wrapped Emily's body in it, careful and slow. He dragged her out of the bathroom, leaving a trail of water on the floor. The motel room was empty now, the lamp still glowing weakly. He carried her to her car, the rain soaking through the curtain. The parking lot was dark, the neon sign flickering. He put her in the trunk and closed it. Then he got in the driver's seat and started the engine. The car rolled out of the lot, heading toward a swamp a few miles away. The rain hit his tracks. The house on the hill watched, its one light still burning. The rain didn't stop. It fell in sheets, soaking the ground around the Bates Inn. The motel sat quiet, its neon sign flickering weakly in the dark. Emily's car was gone, sunk deep in the swamp miles away. The parking lot was empty again, like she had never been there. Inside room 1, the lamp still glowed, casting shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The bed was untouched, the suitcase still open with clothes folded neatly. The purse with the $40,000 was under the bed, forgotten. Days passed before anyone noticed Emily was missing. Back in Phoenix, Mr. Thompson went to the office on Monday. He opened the safe and found it empty. His hands shook as he called the police. He told them about Emily, how she handled the money, how she left early on Friday. The police started looking. They traced her car to the highway, then to the gas station where she bought soda and chips. The old clerk remembered her, said she looked nervous. They kept searching. A week later, a detective named Sam drove to the Bates Inn. He was a tall man with a tired face. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, but the ground was muddy. He parked near the office and stepped out, his shoes sinking slightly. The motel looked dead, like it hadn't seen guests in years. The house on the hill loomed above, its windows dark except for one. Sam rang the office bell. Norman came out, his smile small and tight. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice soft. Sam showed his badge. "Looking for a woman, Emily Carter." She might have stayed here. Norman shook his head. Don't remember her. Lots of people pass through. He pushed the guest book forward. Sam saw the name Jane Smith in shaky handwriting. This her? He asked. Norman shrugged. Maybe. She left early. Didn't say where. Sam asked to see room 1. Norman led him there, unlocking the door. The room was clean, too clean. No sign of a struggle, but the air felt wrong. Sam went back to the office and asked about the house. My mother lives there, Norman said. She's sick. Doesn't like visitors, Sam insisted. He climbed the hill, mud sticking to his shoes. The house was old, with creaking steps and peeling paint. Inside, it smelled like dust and decay. Norman followed, nervous. Sam found a bedroom upstairs. The lit window. Inside was a figure in a rocking chair, facing away. Ma'am? Sam called. No answer. He touched the shoulder, and the figure slumped. It was a corpse, dressed in an old gown, skin gray and stiff. Norman's mother, dead for years. Norman screamed and ran. Sam chased him, catching him in the yard. Norman was crying, talking in 2 voices, his own and a woman's. Mother didn't like her, he said. She was bad. The police came and took Norman away. They searched the house and found more. Old clothes, a wig, a knife hidden under a floorboard. Norman had been living as his mother, talking to her, killing for her. Emily wasn't the first. They found her car in the swamp, her body still in the trunk. The money was back in room 1, untouched. The motel closed for good. The house was boarded up. The rain kept falling, washing away the last traces of the Bates Inn. No one stopped there anymore. The highway stayed quiet, and the desert swallowed the story.